Hi everybody, it's BigPapaGrump from the Board of Doom, and this is my preview and predictions for the 2019 edition of WWE Survivor Series. Okay, some of these are going to be a little bit longer than others. Some of these are going to be cut and dry. I'm going to start with the NXT Championship match between the champ Adam Cole and either Pete Dunne, Killian Dane, or Damian Priest. I want Pete Dunne to win the match at NXT TakeOver to move on to that match and win the title. But I just think Adam Cole retains. I think they're going to make Adam Cole a star before they bring him up and, probably lose it to, I don't know, there's so many people in NXT that could win it. Balor or Ciampa, Pete Dunne, any of those guys could carry that title for a while, and especially with guys going up and down from the main roster to NXT here and all that. So it's really hard to tell, but I think Cole holds on to it for now. All right, in the first of the brand versus brand matches, the tag champs. You've got the Viking Raiders, so we're calling them this month, the New Day, and the Undisputed Era. I am picking the Undisputed Era. I think they're going to sneak a win out of there. Probably just fantasy booking that one. It's probably going to be the New Day, but I'm picking certain number of, because there's 5 of these brand versus brand matches, and I kind of know how I think it's going to end, but I don't know who's going to win what match, so I'm just kind of grasping at straws. So I think the Undisputed Era take that one, giving NXT one win so far on the match, or on the card, or on the... It's been a while since I've done one of these. Okay, for the women's 5-on-5 Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, I'm going to have to read these names because I don't remember anymore. You've got Team Raw, which is Charlotte, Natalya, the Kabuki Warriors, and Sarah Logan. SmackDown, which is Sasha Banks, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, Dana Brooke, and Carmella. Versus nobody knows from NXT, but it's probably going to be some combination of Rhea Ripley and like Io Shirai and Mia Yim, and who knows. So it's probably, I thought I heard that they were going to determine who's going in based off of who wins at War Games, but that may only affect the women because it doesn't make sense with the men, because then the Undisputed Era would be doing double duty, blah, blah, blah. So, which isn't out of the question either, but I doubt it. I think they're going to want to get, like Ciampa and those guys on the show as well. So, but yeah, who knows? Or they could just randomly pick it. It could be Balor, on there, and maybe the returning Velveteen Dream. Who knows? I don't know how injured Velveteen Dream is, so I just threw that out there. So I'm completely unprepared for this video. Just been watching, not even reading the backstage stuff, so I don't even know who's close to being healthy anymore. Gargano could show up, So I'm picking the Raw women because Charlotte. Just have a feeling it's going to be like the NXT women could wreak enough havoc to put on a good show to like be noticed, and come out of this, putting in a good effort. It could come down to Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley, or Charlotte versus Candice, for who knows. With them not announcing, you can't really pinpoint a good prediction. So, I'm pretty sure WWE did this just to screw with me. But I'm going with the Raw women. I just think that this is one of the ones Raw takes. So that gives NXT 1 and Raw 1. Which brings us to the men's 5-on-5 Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. Which Team Raw is Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Ricochet, and Drew McIntyre. SmackDown is Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, Mustafa Ali, and Shorty G. And Team NXT is to be determined. This one, I think Raw wins because I think Corbin sabotages them. To me, it's either going to be Raw or SmackDown. It's not going to be, there's a scenario involving Corbin, just being Corbin, that leads to any of them winning. NXT could win because the infighting with Corbin and Reigns could lead for them to mess up, and NXT steals a win. Or Corbin could just sabotage for the same reason as with Raw, which is they could be infighting and it screws up and it furthers the Reigns Corbin feud because that's what everybody wants. And actually, you know what? I don't mind Corbin so much, but I just really wish he would. I like mean, angry Corbin, and I think just straight up malicious with less talking, more just hitting people with your scepter. That's the Corbin I want to see. Like debuting Corbin, the lone wolf Corbin. That's the Corbin I want to see in the King role. So I'm finding Corbin annoying, but he's a great heel right now. I mean, he's just doing great heel work. I haven't been impressed with his promos lately. But anyways, that's a side note. I think that Corbin is somehow either going to cost SmackDown team the win by infighting, or he's going to do something probably involving Rudolph to make himself look like the hero and embarrass Reigns. But I think SmackDown ends up only winning one or maybe even none, but we'll get to that in a minute. And that's the embarrassment. The new A show. They went 0 for 6 last year. 1 for 6 last year. And this year they got beat by both NXT and Raw. That's how I think it's going to play out, and it's just going to push the Corbin Reigns feud on a little longer, because I think they're going to keep Roman out of the title picture for a little while. You know, maybe it's even another month or two that we're going to have to suffer through Roman Reigns versus, because Roman's probably going to win the Rumble or something. So yeah, so that's where I'm going with that. I'm picking Raw men for that. Okay, another brand versus brand one for the mid-card championships. You've got the United States champion AJ Styles versus representing Raw. Representing SmackDown, you've got Shinsuke Nakamura, the Intercontinental Champ. By the way, like the new belt. Not sure if I like the fact that they replaced the IC title, because I've always liked that belt. But if they're freshening up the titles little by little, I'm okay with that. And, instead of rolling the ball out at once. And then the NXT North American Champion, Roderick Strong, representing the Undisputed Era as well. This one I think Shinsuke wins for two reasons. One, I love the joke on Twitter. I forget who it was, so sorry. The whole, if Shinsuke wins, he would be the king of strong styles. Roddy Strong, AJ Styles guy. Funny. I thought it was funny. But I also think that this is the one that SmackDown wins. If they're going to shut SmackDown out, I actually think Roddy wins. But I'm thinking that they're going to give SmackDown one win so that it's not as obvious what happens in the men's one, which is probably going to be later in the show. So I think Shinsuke wins this one, probably some sort of shenanigans involving Sami Zayn and the OC and the Undisputed Era, causing all sorts of distractions, and Balor comes out, and then, Dean Ambrose shows up just for, whatever. It's going to be a whole lot of blah just going on outside the ring, probably going to cause, and it's a triple threat, so it's not like there's disqualifications. So there you go with that. And the final brand versus brand, which I've kind of already tipped my hand on who I think is going to win. You're going to have the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch, the SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley, and the NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler. I think Baszler wins. Part of me wants to say that they're going to set up the horsewomen versus horsewomen, maybe for the Rumble, or just plant the seeds and slow burn it, building up to WrestleMania. But I guess it all depends on, where they think that Jessamyn Duke and Maria Shafir are, and whether or not, you can expect Ronda Rousey back. Oh my God, it's been so long, I forgot her name. But either way, even if they just plant the seed using just Baszler, or even Baszler and Shafir and Duke, and without Ronda, they could, because that could be part of. Because I think if they bring Ronda in, you have less of a chance for a slow burn. But who knows? They could just for the heck of it. And plus, I think they want to get people talking. I mean, they just beat AEW in the ratings, and I know what exactly happens with the ratings. It's not exactly like but it still gives them a little bit of momentum on TV, and then to get people talking again because Ronda's back. So we'll see. This would be a good time to pull that trigger, is what I'm saying. But if they don't, they could still build that story slowly. And but I think Baszler wins. I mean, it would also make sense to have Baszler just win, because she's that good. Just sell that. But we'll see. But I think Baszler goes over here. Okay, for the Universal Championship, I don't hate the blue belt. I'm okay with it. I would have liked to have seen a Fiend theme one, and I heard somebody was mentioning that there's a possibility that as I close all these programs on my phone, there's a possibility that they could have Bray with one belt and then the Fiend have his own. Maybe. That would be cool. Almost like a Smoking Skull sort of situation. I think Bray beats Daniel Bryan, retains the title. I'm not 100% sure. I honestly think it's going to be a squash. No, it's going to end up being a squash. Bryan's going to get in a bunch of offense early, and he's just going to look like he's going to squash the Fiend. He's going to get a 1 count after the running knee, and then just mandible claw him to death. I mean, or something like that. I think you got to set up the Fiend as the monster that he is. And if you want to extend the feud, you can, because you can have these two go at it for a little bit, maybe set up something coming out of the Rumble. Because I think it's too early for Reigns. I think he's got unfinished business with Corbin, and that's kind of what they've been setting up. But yeah, so I think the Fiend goes over. Plus, I just want the Fiend to go over. I don't want them to take the belt off him for a long time. And in what's probably, I don't know if it's going to be the main event or not, because, with SmackDown being the A show now, and also you might want to have the men's Survivor Series match go on last to set up all sorts of whatever. But you've got the WWE Championship match between the champ Brock Lesnar and the challenger Rey Mysterio, and I think Rey wins. I think some shenanigans involving either Cain Velasquez or Dominic, or both, but I think they're going to have a rematch. Probably, I would imagine, and I think it was CBS Sports, I read, said that they were looking at a rematch at WrestleMania for Brock and Velasquez, but not for the title. And I kind of agree with that. I was thinking that they were going to have to give them some sort of in-ring rematch, even if they have Brock go over again. But you can't have... And there was a rumor out there about Cain Velasquez and Rey becoming a tag team, but I think Rey's clock is ticking too fast for that to really do anything. So you give Rey a run with the belt, maybe have him lose it at either WrestleMania or the Rumble. Who knows? Depending on who they're going to push. I don't think you set up a Rollins Mysterio. I don't necessarily think you go for a rematch between Rey and Brock right away either, or even at all. So there are plenty of others that you can push against Mysterio. A match between him and Styles, especially with the title on the line, and Rey's career kind of coming to a close. Even if he doesn't retire anytime soon, he's only got so many big stage matches left in him, so he's going to make the most out of the opportunity. The same can be said for AJ, so he's going to make the most of the opportunity, so why not throw those two together, maybe, at the Rumble. Yeah, you'd almost have to take the belt off of AJ, but either way, I think Rey Mysterio wins. Okay, so in summary, I think NXT and Raw each win 2 and SmackDown's left with 1. Although I would not be a bit surprised if you see... I don't think you're going to see a sweep, but I could see SmackDown being shut out. So, but we'll see. To build... they would use, if they're going to, they would use that simply to progress the Reigns-Corbin feud. But, I mean, it's really hard to tell where they're going with stuff now. So, because there's so much going on, and it's so hard to see things coming out of Survivor Series because everything's been, like, brand split, orient, or like brand split, like, Team Raw, Team SmackDown, Team NXT. So, it's the NXT path's slightly clearer because it's so convoluted, you can just pick anybody. Whereas WWE hasn't really, on the main shows, haven't really been setting up. Like, you can see on NXT that they've got several possibilities as the next step for Cole. But Raw and SmackDown haven't really been as clear cut. So it's a little convoluted, which I kind of like. I actually kind of like the kind of aspect of it. Like, I've been just talking out of my butt the whole time because I have no idea. I mean, it's too hard. It's really hard to predict when you don't know who's going to be in it, and you can kind of see, like, they're probably going to have, like, Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley in that match because they seem like they want to make them stars. But, and same thing, like, the men, it's like Tommaso Ciampa, he's been featured, Finn Balor's in NXT now, so you could see him on there, it's, although with his character you really can't, but you never know. So there's so many possibilities, and it's so weird and whatever, but I'm going 2-2-1 with SmackDown getting the one. Now, one's for the other board members who also don't watch. Hell in a Cell. We didn't do a video for Hell in a Cell, and there's a reason, because they did not announce all their matches till freaking Sunday. I'm not doing a video and editing it and trying to get it up there and all that, but no, just not. And it was a good thing, because I almost did a review of it, which would have just trashed it, and then looking back, I've actually kind of softened my stance on... I still think the finish was awful, but I see what they were going for, and it's just the execution was a little shady, although I don't hate it nearly as much as I did originally. So, especially since The Fiend eventually got the belt anyways. But, we had weird scoring, because I sent out 3 different scoring results to the rest of the board, because first, Rollins, or we thought that it was a no contest. Then we thought that at one point there was talk that the Fiend won by DQ in a Hell in a Cell match, and obviously it wasn't it. And then and then Rollins got the win because, like, Bray couldn't continue or whatever. So, and at this point I don't even remember the result, but I went with the official result that came out of WWE and adjusted the scores. So the scores that are at the end of the video are reflective of that. So, yeah. There was a whole lot of confusion. So, but that was my preview and predictions, and it's been a while, so I'm feeling a little talky because I haven't done one of these in a while, and I'm kind of getting back into the groove of things. So, yeah, but I've been Big Papa Grump, and I will catch you next time.